Chapter 1. Elia, the Ghost in the Grain. There's a specific kind of silence in a lab when someone realizes they're looking at something they shouldn't be able to see. Not the loud, chest-clutching kind of shock. No, it's quieter, slower. Like the moment right before a glass tips off a table, gravity already decided, but sound not yet delivered. That's what it felt like when I saw the first signal. The room was dim except for the soft green glow of the monitors and the hum of the cryochambers. We were 3 weeks into the Grant extension, working with cadaveric neural tissue to study post-mortem decay. It was the kind of research you only get funded for if you frame it as medically adjacent, identifying post-death biomarker trajectories for advanced diagnostic windows. In plain English, we were poking dead brains. Only they weren't dead. Not entirely. "Elia," said Marlowe, one of my postdocs, "you should see this." I almost ignored him. We'd had false positives before, stray signals from residual electrical charges, ghost data from unshielded equipment. But something in his voice stopped me. He wasn't confused. He was frightened. I walked over to his station. He didn't speak, just pointed at the waveforms on the screen. 2 hours post-mortem. No external stimuli, but the neural array was lighting up like an orchestra tuning before a performance. Not random, not degradation. There were spikes in the temporal and parietal lobes, patterns too clean to be noise. I stared at the data. My mouth went dry. "Did you run it through the cleaner?" "Twice. Shielding's good. I even cut the power to the other rigs. It's real." I leaned closer. The signal was fluctuating in low-frequency bursts, almost rhythmic. My hands moved on their own, running comparisons, trying to match it against known phenomena. Seizure patterns, deep sleep oscillations, hypoxic surges. Nothing fit. Nothing came close. We sat in silence as the signal continued. 37 minutes of it, then cut, flatline. It returned 3 hours later. Different lobe, same body. "What are you?" I thought. "What are you doing still in there?" I didn't tell the others what I suspected. Not yet. Saying it aloud would make it ridiculous. Instead, I ran the raw logs, compared patterns. I ruled out everything I could explain and left with something I struggled to define. When I was 15, I spent a summer in Canada with my Aunt Susan. She was an ecologist, and she took me into the forests there to study mycorrhizal networks. Underground, she said, the trees were talking to each other, sharing nutrients, warning of disease, entire ecosystems communicating in silence. No one believed her at first. It sounded like folklore, but it was real. We saw it. This signal felt like that. Subterranean, relational. Not the dying gasp of a brain, but the whisper of something that didn't know it should be dead yet. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, we isolated a sample from the occipital cortex. The tissue was breaking down, as expected, but embedded in the glia were protein structures that shouldn't have been there, prion-like, but too stable, self-repairing, as if something had anticipated decay and reinforced itself against it. I stared at the protein signature for nearly 10 minutes before I realized what I was seeing. Not disease. Not malfunction. Persistence. I couldn't stop thinking about the collective unconscious. Jung wasn't an ecologist or a neuroscientist, but he might have been onto something. What if the soul isn't a singular flame, but a lattice of memory stretching across hosts? What if this prion isn't a pathogen, but an archive? A keeper? That night, I ran the simulation again, alone. The signal came back. And for the first time, I thought it might be trying to talk.